All right, hello everyone again. It's Michelle Mahar here, and this morning I'm here with Eni Osla. Eni, thank you so much for giving me your time today to talk about what's going on. Navigating through these difficult times right now from a mindset perspective as well as a financial perspective, and not getting sucked into the fear, right? So thank you, Eni. Just let us know a bit about who you are and what you do.
Michelle, thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you for doing this, because you are doing this for over a week now, and you are inviting, other people, business people, experts to share their take on how they are responding, not only with their businesses but also with the isolation in terms of the mental aspect, and sharing that wisdom and helping others. So this is great, because this is helping all of us not only staying connected, but also with tips and tricks to actually come out of this probably stronger than we got into this. So because you asked who I am, so let me talk about that briefly. When I speak with my clients, or just at the seminar, or any of that, I usually introduce myself as the financial doctor. And I know that those are big words, but that's exactly who I am. I come from the world of having my master's in adult education, and I have been working in investments for 15 plus years. And then 5 years ago, I had a major car accident. Someone T-boned me. And that was a very interesting realization of shaking up my world, literally. And understanding that investing alone is not doing the trick. So while the body was healing, I completed my insurance and real estate license as well. And then I realized that I can't go back to where I was working, which is investments only, because that is no longer just doing the trick for anyone and everyone, because there are more holistic solutions are needed for all of us. And so I basically found my new opportunity, which is under the RBC umbrella. And the reason why I chose RBC, not only because this is, the #1 financial institution in Canada, and therefore the strongest, but because their vision and mission and their integrity was really resonating with me as well. So when I actually had my interview back in the days with my to-be director, I laid it down, right down the cards at the table for her. I said to her, listen, I don't believe in 9 to 5. I don't like to work in an office. I have 2 smart children, and they are doing competitive activities such as piano and dancing and so on. And, just don't give me the small leash. In fact, don't give me any leash, and I will deliver. So fast forward, I happen to be the #1 female financial specialist within my field in the entire country, within the RBC umbrella. And I'm really proud to say that this is something to do with, the quality of people that I'm attracting and I'm working with. And those are my clients, those are the business people, I call them my team. Not only my clients literally become my friends and ambassadors, but also the business people that I'm working with that become my extension can truly help my clients to also thrive and grow. What I have been doing during this time, I actually completed Noel Warren's business coaching and mindset coaching as well. And he happens to be the graduate of Bob Proctor. And who wouldn't know Bob Proctor? This is all about mindset and the law of attraction. And RBC gave me the opportunity actually last year, in 2018 already. Wow, time flies. To train 12 new hires, and they gave me free hands. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to train them on products. I'm not going to train them on procedures, any of that. What is much more important is training people on mindset, because when you train them on mindset, that's when everything can change for them. And within 60 days, Michelle, they have increased their productivity by 338%. And the reason why they've done so, because they didn't do any product push. They didn't do anything. They started to finally listen to their clients and understand what they need, and creating custom tailored solutions that the clients actually needed. And that's all it takes, like listening to your clients. What is it that they need? And just as Zig Ziglar said back in the days, when you give others what they need, you can pretty much have everything that you need. And that's what it is. It's creating all the positive vibrations, the positive energy out there, and it's going to replicate itself and multiply. So that's what
Wow.
I do. I love what I'm doing. And within my network, and I know the usual suspects would be, the lawyers, the accountants, and so on. But I have the stylist, because some people just simply want to have a completely revamped image. I have the music producer, the singer songwriter, the charity, the realtor, network marketing specialist, branding ambassadors. It's name it, and I call them my team, because what happens is you are meeting clients from all aspects of life. And be it business owners, be it just stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home dads. I actually met those as well, or just anybody. The needs are different for anyone and everyone, and usually you need to build them up. So sometimes my services start with just simply budgeting, understanding what is your cash flow situation, where is the money going out, what is it that is your income, and how are we making the best of it. And it's so funny because I even have people who are on welfare, and they actually started a TFSA because we actually found a $50 for them to start it on a monthly basis. And as they see how it has been really growing for them and so on, they new opportunities open up for them. So that's just from that end. And of course I have all the people who are the business owners, and they want to have all kinds of protections and ideas how to grow their businesses, as well as estate planning and anything in between. So it's fun. I love what I'm doing.
Right. That's great. And it's really great to hear something like that from a corporate perspective, that RBC allowed you to train those new hires as you wanted, and to train them with the on the mindset, as opposed to just doing the product training. That is a huge shift, I think.
So I really need to tell you that yeah, you know what, I agree with you, but here's one thing. I mean, they know that I do other stuff as well, so they know that I wrote a book, and it's supposed to be coming out probably in June, but now that we have the coronavirus situation, it might need to be pushed out. And it has actually something to do with mindset as well. It's Randy Goodman's Empowering Women to Succeed series.
Right.
And, and they know that I'm being invited to be a speaker on stages and talk about not only financial education, but also about the mindset. And, they see the results. They see it not only on my personal results, but also on the people that it touches and what it does for them.
Right, exactly.
Right. And because it's a ripple effect, it would be foolish for them to not to do it. I mean, RBC happens to be quite big on education anyways, but this is something an added surplus, right? That's helping the public and anybody else. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think that that is something so needed in the whole corporate world, right? The training around mindset and things like that, because it's I know when I worked at the bank, that wasn't I was at BMO, and it was definitely not anything. The only trainings we had were time management and Excel and whatever. So anyhow, it's I think it's something much needed, and hopefully it's something that is going to be shifting going forward. I think this whole having everybody working from home is going to shift things on the corporate level going forward as well. They're going to understand that people don't have to always be in the office. You can be productive elsewhere. It's not about sitting at your desk 9 to 5, and that's the only way that you'll get any work done. I just think that the whole, the whole corporate thinking has to change. But anyhow, it's nice to see that you're, that RBC is realizing that and recognizing that and going forward with it. So in terms of this whole situation that we've come into, right? I know I really got sucked into the fear when it first happened. I think all of us, it just happened so quickly. And even though we knew the coronavirus was coming, was a global, was a threat, that kind of thing, it just seemed like everything shifted so quickly. And for me, what I found is when they canceled sports, that was like, wow, sports never gets canceled. So this is really serious, serious stuff. So
Actually, I firmly believe that that's when it hit home for most people,
I think so.
when the NBA,
Yeah.
championships have been canceled. Because until then, many people were just brushing it away, and they thought that, oh, yeah, it happens in Europe, whatever else, but it's so far away, and an entire ocean is in between us,
So
right?
far
So
away, yeah.
what can it do to us? And then suddenly, like, what do you mean sports are canceled? So that's when it started to hit home, and then everything else got canceled. And the next thing you know, toilet paper was gone from the stores, right?
Yes, and then there's all the panic at the stores, and even still, even now, when I happened to go to Loblaws at lunchtime yesterday, and totally empty. Toilet paper, paper towel, that whole aisle, the shelves were bare. So anyhow, the panic buying just it was a ripple effect, right? It's contagious when you start seeing people panicking, and everybody was posting pictures of the grocery store lines and empty shelves. Then you get panicky and you get worried, because you have to make sure your family is safe and has the essentials. So that but I found,
Right.
so I got into that, when it all changed, but I knew I didn't want to stay in that fear, right? You don't want to
So
stay in
so
that
what
fear.
have you done? What have you then done, Michelle, to get out of that fear?
So what I did, well, basically that was the Thursday. Then I got sucked in Friday, went to Costco with all the people. uh, that was crazy, but I did meet a very nice man in front of me who used to work at Costco, who was 77 years old, and he was interesting, interesting man. But anyhow, so yeah, so I felt like when I came home and knew that I had meat to put in the freezer and that kind of thing, I felt a bit calmer. And then
Right.
I think on the weekend I kind of just sat with it. I didn't really do much, but then it was Sunday when I decided to create this group. I figured this was a good way for me to have, because I was finding Facebook to be too negative. It was just sucking me in and that kind of thing. So I wanted to create a safe space for people where it's a positive, with positivity. And then I thought, well, I know so many incredible people that I can talk to. So why don't I just interview people, and we go from there and see what people have to say in terms of how to navigate through this. Because when we can't be together, as you know, like, we're always networking, we're always with people, and
Yeah.
now you can't be going out and meeting people. Well, we can still connect this way online through Zoom. So I knew we could do that. And essentially, that's it, right? I knew that if we come together as a community, uh, that we'll get out of the fear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? I'm so glad that you have been doing this, and that you shifted your own mindset, because we are so responsible for what we are thinking. And that's the only thing that we can actually control. And I guess that's
Right.
where the panic is coming from, that people lost the
Control.
control, right? And that is actually human nature. So I completely get that. The problem is that when you are reactive, versus, and how you are being reactive versus really acting in the best and most responsible way, that's when actually panic can happen. And I guess that's exactly what happened. And that's why you are seeing still the empty shelves and so on. And you know what?
Yeah.
I never seen anything like this in a developed world, to be quite honest with you. And many of my clients happen to know that I was born in Budapest, which back in the days was behind the Iron Curtain, but we were the
Right.
most developed of all of those countries. So we never had rations. Okay. We really never had rations, past the Second World War. So by the time, my parents were born and I was born, we didn't know any of that. You went to the store, you bought whatever you wanted. And
Right.
so the fact that now you are going to, I'm living in Canada. Okay. I mean, first, I moved to Germany, Frankfurt, and then later on to Cologne. Again, Western Germany, you never had rations, right?
Right.
And then here in Canada, that we actually have stores out there, Walmart, Longos, as well as Loblaws, who still actually have paper products like paper
Yeah.
towels
I think they
and
get
so
them.
on.
It just gone by
Yeah,
lunch,
but it's
maybe.
rationalized, so you can actually take
Yes.
only one pack. That's it, right? And these are small packs, so like 12 rolls of toilet paper, which is fine, as long as everyone really only takes one and they're restocking the shelves, it's fine. You can go back again. It's not like that, that's
Yeah.
for the entire month for a family of 4, 5, 6, right? So it's all good. But it's an interesting experience, to be quite honest with you. And just thinking back how many of the other countries, for instance, even Romania back in the days when I was a kid, they actually had rations, right? And when we heard about it, it was so strange for us to understand it.
Right.
Or Eastern Germany, they had that as well when I was a child. And just hearing the stories from our grandparents who went through the World War and what they went through. So in many ways, for those people who are experiencing it right now, it might bring back memories that are not exactly the nicest ones, right? So that is
True.
coming
Yeah.
in addition to the psychological reactions. The
I
bottom line
never
is, though,
thought
right,
about
the
one.
bottom line
Yeah.
is, though, if you're not being selfish in terms of you really only take what you need, then guess what? Everyone can have everything that they need. I found it so funny that for the past few days, I was trying to find yeast because I decided, you know what, I want to make pizza for the kids. They really like pizza, and they are missing their pizza days in school and whatever else. And for pizza, you actually need yeast. Well, there's no yeast anywhere in the stores, like nothing.
Mm.
So that's it. So that's also one of the things, the not so usual suspects that you can find. So, but who looks for things eventually finds the solution. So I actually found in Walmart yesterday a pre-packaged mix of pizza dough that all it needs is water and oil and whatever else and some seasoning, and we made pizza with the kids. So after all, we actually found the solution. And I guess
Yeah.
that's the key in all of this. Be creative, be adaptable.
Right.
Because, for those brick and mortar businesses who never had any online presence and never
Yes.
did anything online, they probably are having a very hard time right now. And they need to very quickly revamp their way of thinking and the way they are doing business, because we don't know how long it takes. So we don't know. Like yesterday, for instance, I spoke with my parents and some friends from overseas, both Hungary and Germany, and they are actually in lockdown for much longer than we are. And they really found amazing ways to cope with it. So for instance, they actually no longer have shortages in the stores when they go and buy stuff. Yes, it's rationalized, for the first time
Yeah.
after the World War. But at the end of the day, because you can actually go and you can buy your stuff and you buy really only what you need. So finally they came to terms with it and they understood it and they play along, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But there are other things as well that they figured out, which I'm curious how our government is going to handle, which is online education. So up until today, and today is the first full week that has been gone since the March break, and
Right.
I'm in York region, and there's still no plan whatsoever how the online teaching and training of
Yep.
the students will happen, which I find is very interesting. And I recognize that we were having, the strike situation going on for months, and that was their priority. And maybe that's part of the
It
reason why they didn't prepare for this. But
it
at
was
this
their
point, there's
priority. Yeah.
right. But at this point, there's no more excuse. I'm sorry. So there were 2 weeks going on. One was the March break, which finally they settled on their contract. Thank
Yeah.
God. Good for
They
them,
did.
right?
But
But what happened since, right? So there is actually an online platform. I know that my daughter, specifically my daughter, both of my kids are in French immersion. They have needed to do a lot of stuff online before. They had to submit assignments online and so on. So
Yeah.
the infrastructure is there. So the question is, when are they going to truly do something about it, to have a guided training? And I don't know how assessments will be doing and so on. But I certainly don't want that the students are losing out on their opportunities to truly make a difference this year, um,
Yeah.
on their opportunities. Thank God for all the online providers, such as, Scholastic Canada and Khan Academy and so on. There are quite a few out there who actually provide free of charge service, these times, for students to take different courses. So for instance, Khan Academy we are using for the science component for the kids, and, Scholastic for the other stuff. And then for the French, I mean, I'm actually grateful that in Canada, most of the DVDs are actually coming, bilingual. So, you know, so we are actually putting in, like, the afternoon is movie time for the kids. And, we change the language from English to French. And
Okay.
so that's why we are keeping, the French up, and, they have to go along. And then the other thing that we are doing as well is we actually are continuing with for them specifically, we are continuing with all the other extracurricular that is possible through online classes. So for instance, my daughter is a competitive dancer, and thank God the dance school has come out with these online Zoom classes, and they are doing
Right.
it. So
Yeah.
that's happening as well, and that therefore her social interaction with her friends is remaining. So that's a good thing. Piano, we are doing the same things, but that's it. We are now having online piano classes through Zoom and WhatsApp and whatever else is out there. And music
Yeah.
theory, same with the little guy. He's only 7, so it's a little bit of a getting used to this new reality for him. But, they are adaptable. They have an open mind, which is a good thing.
Right.
And the other thing that I find is extremely important is to actually getting out for a walk on a daily
Oh,
basis. Absolutely. I mean, right now the weather is just really getting warmer and nicer and more sunshine, and that actually helps with the mind to stay positive, to stay focused. So we are doing not short walks, we are doing very long walks, 1.5 hours, and quite frankly, sometimes we hug trees because that helps to stay grounded, like,
right.
and just to observe how spring actually has come. Like, now you're no longer just seeing the buds, but you see the mini leaves on many of the trees, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And you can hear the birds finally chirping and everything else. So
Right.
there's no extra noise because there's very little traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things that we are doing as well. And, as we go along, and this is a very residential neighborhood with a lot of, playgrounds and whatever else. I'm like, nope, no playground, but let's enjoy the walk.
Right.
And, they play
Yes.
along. So we created, a new routine and a new structure, and we encompass things that are good for the mind and good for everything else. And the other thing is listening to music. I mean, music is definitely my thing. I have been growing up in music. I have been playing the piano. I've been part of a choir, and we were touring all across Europe back in the days. And so my love of music is just, it's part of my nature and part of my texture. So for me to be able to enjoy online concerts, which are now again the new norm, is priceless. Like, we actually have not only artists who are coming out with Instagram and Facebook lives, and providing free concerts, which is amazing, because if you think about it, they actually make no living at the moment, because most of these people are actually making their living not through the streaming and not through CD sales are really no longer there in North America. They're still big in certain parts of the world, but not in North America. Just that you guys understand, for instance, streaming anything on Spotify, any song, they actually have to stream it 500 times to give the artist $1. Okay, so that we really put things into perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And so usually they actually make their living through their merchandise and through the live gigs, and there are obviously no live gigs right now, other
Right.
than
Yeah.
the Facebook lives and whatever else. So I actually had a conversation with a music producer back in New York, and he even asked me, okay, so what are the ideas in terms of how can we actually get a fundraiser and so on, and so yeah, I really think that there should be some fundraisers as well, specifically when they are giving their time and talent to entertain us and keep our minds at check as well. So that's on that. Just my 2 cents
Yeah.
on the music, the live music. But also there are many
Right.
streams happening. So for instance, the Paris Opera House started, the Berlin Philharmonics, Vienna Opera House, and so on. All
Oh,
those
yes, I
things that
saw.
they have been recorded, it's amazing. And actually, the Don Giovanni from the Paris Opera House is just absolutely brilliant musically. I know that those people who don't like the 21st century, set up in terms of, the dresses and the acts, they would be like, what do you mean? Like Mozart would be probably rolling in their grave or rolling in his grave. But you know what? Regardless, listen to the music and enjoy. Just,
Hmm.
I don't know. I have fun with this. And you know what? I'm playing the piano again because I'm like, that is my happy place, and bring it back. And the other thing that I'm doing other than my daily walks, and I started it before the lockdown, I just literally increased it now, is exercising. It's not only helping your mind, but it's helping your body as well.
Right.
So I actually have lost quite a bit of weight since I started doing it. So the positive effect is right on. And then with regards to work, so because of the financial, I'm still considered essential services. And as such, yes, I am working. So we had to revamp everything. It was so funny, back to your previous comment, how is a large financial institution such as RBC coping with this? Well, you have to be adaptable to stay afloat and
Right.
helping your clients. I mean, how many millions of clients do we have? And quite frankly, what we are doing, we are there for our clients. What does it mean? From all channels, be it email, be it phone calls. If they need face-to-face, the only two questions we have to ask is, have you been outside of the country or the province in the past 14 days? And do you have any flu-like symptoms? And as long as the answer is no, then the opportunity is there to say, okay, then let's meet. But if they are open for the online option, we have WebEx. We have all kinds of tools to really help them as well with the
Right.
services that they need and staying connected. And what is really important as well, to actually pick up the phone and reach out proactively to your clients. And that's not only for me, but for anyone and everyone, whether you are making a living at the moment or not. Because if you
Right.
really think about it, customer service is key. This thing will pass. The question is, how did you handle this situation with your clients at the moment? Because that's how they will remember you once this is over, and who are they going to do business with again in the future, and probably free more. And some people need to take their
Right.
money out. Some people need to cancel certain things, and they have to do what they have to do. And you just have
Right.
to help them. And the other thing that I'm very big on is looking at not only the RBC economics. We are getting multiple emails a day in terms of true financial interpretation of things, which is important, because many people are just as you pointed out, going to Facebook, going to all kinds of, fear-mongering news, and they are doing things that really they are shooting themselves in the leg. So they're really
Yeah.
hurting themselves, not only in the short run, but also in the long run. So you need to understand things, what are happening in the background. And the governmental stimulus that, for instance, was announced, last week and this week as well,
Right.
to really understand the financial and the economical aspects, not only, in Canada, but also what else is happening in the world. And once you have a better understanding, that's when you can actually make better choices for yourself. And that's why I really urge everyone out there to please speak with your financial advisor before you make any choices or any decisions, because you had a plan before you started something, and that plan might be altered at the moment, but the question is how you're making the best of it. And I guess that's an important decision to make. And please don't just go by, Facebook or whatever the neighbor is doing, the Jones effect. No, like you are in for it for yourself, and please understand the intricacies. And with
Yeah.
regards to what the government is doing, I'm actually big on educating people as well, because it's important to understand that not everyone out there might have voted for Trudeau, and it's fine. But at the moment, hats off of the government that they really stepped up and made decisions that were extremely needed to help people. Because
Right.
we know that,
Yes.
people were laid off, businesses are shut down, even businesses that
Yes.
are functioning, they're functioning at a much lower efficiency and much lower, level.
Yeah.
So the question is, what is out there? So for instance, EI, so people who need to self-isolate themselves, people who have children and the children are not in school and you need to take care of them, or there are actually people you are taking care of because they have COVID, and so on and so on. So since March 15th, anybody and everybody who's falling into this category can actually apply for help. And then finally the government realized that the self-employed people actually need even more help, because quite frankly, you got your businesses shut down. I mean, not everyone is falling into the essential services, and even if you are, such as for instance a realtor, you can't really do home showings right now. You really can't.
Right.
It's not responsible, right?
Right. Yes.
So they came out with the emergency response benefit, which is going to give a taxable benefit of $2,000 a month up to 4 months, and you are able to, or eligible to, apply for it as of April 1st. Now, let's not fool ourselves. It will take a few days and whatever else, because there will be
Yeah.
massive amount of applications that are coming in. But at least, you know that it's there. And it's so funny because they even said that people who are normally would not qualify for EI, they are also qualifying for other subsidies as well. So even though, let's say you are on EI and so on, and yet you now qualify also for this emergency response benefit, so you can get both, and plus you can get the child care boost, and the late tax filing, and a lot of other things, which hopefully is really going to help people and the overall economy to stay afloat, and and just helping us to breathe and not panic too much more. And you know what, kudos to the big
Right.
5 banks as well, who said, what, with mortgages, let's have a little bit of a break there if it's needed, up to 6 months. Now that's something that I would only recommend with a grain of salt. Why?
Yeah.
Because if you are able to pay your mortgages, you probably should. And the reason being is because you already have your interest rate on it, which thankfully is relatively low, right? But now if you're deferring, there will be additional interest growing. So, mortgages tend to be large balances. So therefore the interest, even though it's a low interest rate, now
Right.
the extra interest that is
6
growing,
months. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So again, if you need to do it, please do it. But, it just see how it goes. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah. True. Yeah. And then, like you say, the people with small businesses that have brick and mortar businesses that have been shut down, like that are non-essential, where they focus on in-person services like hairstylists, nail salons, massage therapists, things like that. Um, this they have to take this opportunity to be creative, and this is the time that you can educate people. So go online and start doing videos and educating people, and telling people, giving people tips on how to deal with their hair, I guess, is one thing, because it's going to be a while that we're going to be stuck like this, and I don't know what's going to happen to our hair. But
And I know
for
you have 4 colors.
yeah, so you don't know what I might shave it off. uh, um,
Please don't.
it no, but seriously, this is the time for everybody to get creative and provide value, provide education, because like you say, this is the time for customer service. So put it out there, give people value, and then everybody will be looking to you after, when we get out of this. And people are going to be running to those services because, like I say, hair for one thing. If we're going to be in here for a while, people are definitely going to need something done with their hair right soon after. People that nail salons too, right? People who have regularly get their nails done, things like that. People are going to want to do that after. So educate, provide value, start doing videos, start going into, so, you know, on social media that way. And then people will, you'll kind of be top of mind after. At least that's,
Absolutely.
you know, that's the, as far as I think, goes. Like, I'm going to take advantage of this time to produce a lot of content and a lot of videos, because I know right now people aren't going to be, people aren't concerned about buying jewelry right now. It's not, you know, people are looking at essentials, food, just making sure you have food. That's, you know, that's your essentials right now. Nobody has anywhere to go, so people aren't necessarily concerned with the other things. But so I want to provide value and produce content and things like that during this time, so that I'll be ready when we get through this.
Absolutely.
That's my
Absolutely.
plan.
Now, I need to put something in there, because in every single economy, there are always people who are getting out of it as winners, right?
Yes.
So one point was to understand what's happening in the markets and everything else. But to your comment about jewelry, I agree that most people don't think about it. At the same time, I find it extremely clever of you that you are doing these daily, you know, interviews where you are actually showcasing your amazing talent and the amazing
Yeah.
creations that you are doing. So yes, that's definitely creating an interest to it. But let's understand it that there are people out there who are still actually not spending their days in their PJs, but they are actually dressing up because they still have an online business to run and so on, and they need to look presentable.
True.
And if the
Yes.
online business is running, then they actually might be your clientele in terms of buying. Maybe they're not going to overbuy that they would be doing, let's say, in a normal month, but they still might be wanting to enhance their collections.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. So the question is, are we smart enough to tap into the niche that is still there, for us to perhaps revamp our message and attract the people who still need our services? So, for instance, you brought up the
Right.
you know, the hairdresser and the massage therapist and whatever else. Clearly, unfortunately, they can't do any of this right now, and yes, they have to do the education component. But
Yeah.
just as you discussed it yesterday with Carol, and I wholeheartedly agree on it, like, you can actually sell, you know, gift certificates at the moment,
Right.
because, you know, just as you said, it will be needed. At the same time, you can have tutorials and so on, you know, be in the minds of the people.
Yeah.
For the jewelry specifically, I'm not kidding you, like, you probably should be tapping into a different market. And the reason why I said at the beginning that we are probably getting out of this stronger than we got into, because this is giving us now the opportunity not only to revamp ourselves, but how are we doing it? By educating ourselves. So I actually have signed up for one of the online courses at Yale. Many of these courses lately are either free or at a severely discounted price. And why not? Like, you know, I mean, there are all kinds of
Yes.
opportunities right there
There are.
now for us to learn and develop ourselves, and because that's now becoming part of our arsenal. So not only are we becoming stronger as advocates for our clients, you know, with services and everything else, but it's also helping us to become stronger, because now the mind starts to work on the how, right? So you're not getting tripped,
Right.
or no, I can't do it, but rather, okay, wait a second, how can I do it?
How
And you
can,
find
yes.
different ways. So and that's honestly my biggest advice. Like yesterday, for instance, Randy was hosting an online trade show. It was a networking, and, you know, people who had businesses, okay, so let's revamp for a second, rewind. We were supposed to have an amazing charity gala benefiting $1 Million Smiles, which is a non-for-profit organization, you know, supporting families with children who are either terminally ill or have special needs, on the 25th, followed by a trade show, the Toronto Women's Expo, for the 10th anniversary yesterday. And clearly none of that is happening. So it has been, you know, rescheduled for me, and let's see if that happens or if it needs to be rescheduled. But that's not the point. The point is, because the trade show obviously couldn't happen in person, Randy was smart enough to simply figure out, you know what, why don't we do an online thing? And yes, it was a shortened thing, but regardless, she found a platform where we were having our own booths, or, you know, tables, and, the chairs, and people were able to come in and sit down, and we had our little discussions with the people who were there, and you were able to leave and jump somewhere else. So it was an amazing networking event, to be quite honest with you. And but the bottom line is, there was, for instance, one lady who has a business where she's going out to clients to provide custom and in-person, glasses and contact lenses and whatever else, frames. And clearly she can't do it right now. And also because this profession happens to be regulated in Ontario, she can't really do that business online. Plus price-wise, even if she would be doing it price-wise, she couldn't compete with some US competitors. But what she can do is actually sunglasses, because look outside, the sun is actually shining more and more every day. So you know what? She's smart enough to realize, wait a second, I can't do what I do normally, but what can I do? And that's what she's going to focus on. So I said, okay, you know what, let me connect you with an online marketing specialist, a branding specialist, whatever else, just to change some of the strategies, websites, online presence, and so on. And I'm actually looking forward to see how she's coming out as a winner out of this. And that's the key. Like, if you can do one thing, what is it that you can do? And just be creative. So that's a time of being creative.
Right, exactly. And the other thing is, like you were saying, there's so many resources out there. So many people are offering free online training for different aspects. Some pretty, people who would normally charge thousands of dollars are coming out with either free or very much reduced cost training. So this is the time to focus also on developing yourself, which is something I've already signed up for a few things. And I'm working on that as well, because
good for you.
I'm like felt busier and more social than ever before. But I know this is the time to work on everything like that. And just as when we had the hub group, they're doing a weekly call with a life coach in Toronto, Jeffrey Eisen, and it's been really good. And what he said is, who you have to look inward right now and decide, who do you want to be at the end of this? And that's really what it comes down to, looking in at how you're living your life, and decide, is that what I want to continue, or do I want to be something different, and develop the habits now to come out of this much stronger and as a better person. And I think that's what we're doing as a global community too, because I do see such a difference since when it first started, when we were having so much negativity in social media. There still is, it still is there, but I'm finding so many more stories of people helping each other and coming out offering free services and coming together as a global community, helping one another. So
absolutely. And I guess that's a key, because at the end of the day, we should be there for each other. And if that and that has something to do with the law of attraction. When you are in the mode of how you can help others, right? You are winning together as a whole. And I guess that should have been a mentality to start with. And it's interesting to see that such a crisis like what we are going through is now rewiring people to understand this concept. And again, this is going back to the previous prognosis, like we're actually coming out stronger than before, and not just as a person, but also as a community, hopefully, right? Because this is a learning experience for everyone. Yeah.
As a global community, I mean, it's affecting the entire world. So yes, that's what we're going to come out much stronger. So that's definitely the message I want everybody to hear. So thank you so much for your time, Eni. That was a great conversation, and great advice, and just thinking about things. And we have to take this as the opportunity that we've been given, and we're going to come out stronger and better. Definitely. And thank you so much again, Eni, and bye everybody for now. We'll see you later. Bye. Bye, Eni.
Thank you again. And thank you so much, Michele, for doing this. And thank you for all of our audience for watching this. And hopefully you got some good messages out there that you can implement and that can uplift you and inspire you. And we wish you
Yes.
all the very best. And in case you need to reach out to any of us, please do so. We have, Facebook profiles, we have phone numbers, we have email addresses. So please reach out. And
Yes.
even if you just need to have a call, do so.
Right.
We are there for you.
Yes, and I will put your information underneath this video on the group as well, so that people can see and connect. All right, thank you, Eni. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.